will be looking at our different focus groups and filling you in a little bit about what's been happening. So, Cole, if you could show the first slide, that would be great. As we start this, I'd like to start with prayer. So if you could join me in prayer, please do. Father God, we thank you for every seat that has been filled here today and those at home as well who are joining us. We give thanks for each person who has shared their thoughts to our survey. We each have talents and abilities and experience to share in the work of your church. Give us wisdom to move into the future that only you can see in perfect detail. Bless this meeting today. Ready us to move forward into ministry in our community and the world. In Jesus' name, amen. When you came in today, there was a summary sheet. And is there anybody that does not have a copy of that to look at today? Kirsten, are you headed? All right, so keep your hand up and Kirsten will give you a copy of that. We're going to use a little bit of a slideshow, and so we'll kind of follow along with that as well as the summary. So we were asked by our superintendent, Reverend Dr. Heshan John, to participate in this survey, and we did it to kind of provide a clearer understanding of where we are, especially post-COVID, especially as we've just finished celebrating our 50th anniversary. You know, where do we go in the future? So those were the reasons for doing this. A summary of those results were presented to the leadership team last month by Reverend Scott Kober, whose name's up here. He was kind of our consultant and helped us through this process. I wanted to let you know that 74 members of our church participated. They filled out the survey, which represents about 70% of our congregation that meets with us on Sunday mornings. So we have approximately 100 people that attend either in person or online, and so 70% participated. So we felt that was pretty good. Of those responding, 83% were 65 years of age or older. We were hoping for more in the younger sector, but we are an older congregation, so it's not exactly surprising. 17% of those that responded were between the ages of 35 and 64, and we had no one respond who was younger than 35. A couple other things. Most of the people that responded have been part of our congregation for 20 years or more. 57% who participated were with us 20 years or more. And then 2% were 3 or 4 years or less with our congregation. So thankful for those that haven't been with us as long as well. And then the rest were in between. The other thing to mention is that 57% were females. I thought that was pretty good. So it was pretty divided then between male and female. So the responses that you gave to the survey were then compared to over 3,000 churches that have a similar size to Hope United Methodist. And so that's what they're comparing us to, where some of the information comes from. The survey provides a sense of drivers, those things that drive us as a church, things that measure our energy, our satisfaction, and our ability to be flexible. It also gave us some ideas of our strengths, and it also gave us some ideas about our priorities. We'll go to the second slide, and this is about our satisfaction. Satisfaction, as this survey looked at things, dealt with things like our feeling of peace, our feeling of fulfillment as a church, a sense of belonging, and an absence of discord. 38% of our the people that participated said that they were clearly satisfied. 11% said they were clearly dissatisfied, and 51% were on the fence. So they were kind of in the middle. If you remember, there was a 5-point scale. So clearly dissatisfied, clearly satisfied, and on the fence was the middle response that you could get. We have a lot of people on the fence, and so we'd like to see that satisfaction level go up a little bit. We'd like to work on that. So Energy was the next one. There's another slide for that as well. And this is looking at our sense of purpose, the force of engagement, the passion that we have. I think it kind of looks at our excitement, our energy for different things within the church. 20% feel very energized, 20% have low energy, and 61% are on the fence. So again, a lot of people sitting on the fence. And it's good for us to know that, so that we can work on those things. The next slide is a chart that looks at our energy and satisfaction kind of together. It also looks at our flexibility. That was another area that they looked at. And flexibility is our ability to change, or our ability to move, to accept differences of opinion, to move forward. And so on this particular chart, it placed us in a position of recovery or reinvention. Recovery quadrant is a good place to be. Instead of being high energy and low satisfaction, that means that there's a lot going on, but nobody's satisfied. So we don't want to be in that quadrant. The other area that we would prefer not to be in is low energy and high satisfaction. And that would mean that there's not a lot going on, there's not a lot of passion, but everybody's satisfied with the status quo. But we're clearly in the recovery. We'd like to see ourselves move into the transformational quadrant, which would indicate that we have lots of energy, we have lots of satisfied members, and we are very flexible in what we're doing. So there is more of a description of this on your survey on the first page. It kind of talks in the middle. It says low satisfaction, low energy, above average flexibility. And this it means that this is something we should take a really good look at and should be working on. It means we should be doing something now and not wait around for it. So you might read further from that paragraph on your summary. We'll go on to the next slide, which one of the things that this is looking at is that we've been, based on all of our different things that we've listed, I think we're on the wrong slide. There you go. That we are a clergy-focused church, and I believe that, this one does include the top 5 drivers. This is on your sheet as well. The drivers of satisfaction are the things that we find satisfying. The worship services at our church are exceptional, of good quality and spiritual content. Our pastor communicates with people in a way that keeps us informed. The preaching, the pastor engages people with a message that enriches our lives. The pastor is making things happen. The pastor preaches with integrity. So these are the things that, if we feel these things are going well, then we're satisfied. And then you'll notice that, 3 of these items are listed as involving the pastor. So that's one of the reasons that we're considered a clergy-focused church. The next thing that I'd like to share are the drivers of energy, and I don't have a slide for that, but it's on your sheet. The top drivers are that our pastor has ensured the development of a plan of care for our members, so that compassionate component. Our church changes its program from time to time to meet the needs of our members, as well as changes in time. Our pastor is present during times of crisis. Our pastor communicates with people in a way that keeps us informed and connected. Our pastor helps us accomplish our mission by bringing out the best in everyone. And again, this is leading us to a label of being a clergy-focused church. It's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It simply means that we place a higher than normal sense of identity with a person who is the pastor. When people feel good about the pastor, they feel good about the church. And so that's just something for us to be aware of. The clergy-focused churches, the clergy can establish a healthy pattern of ministry serving as a catalyst. Scott emphasized this with us, that, we shouldn't expect the pastor to do everything. Certainly the pastor is in charge of the church and is helping us to develop in many different ways, but we are all part of this church too. And so there is the pastor is the catalyst, and then we are the ones that should be involved and help out. He also said that clergy-focused churches can be, or oftentimes have a higher likelihood of pastor burnout, because there's so much that we expect from the pastor. And so we should be responsible as laity. It's a combination of not only the pastor of the church, but also those of us that are members. So we are all responsible, we all have a role, and we should all take part in the building of our church to a level that we're satisfied with the energy and satisfaction level being higher. Let's go on to the next slide. This is, I don't know, the slide I have has a list on it, but this one doesn't. And I don't believe it's on your sheet. No, it is not. But there were 6 factors that they said are characteristic of a healthy congregation. And it's, by developing these 6 areas, you will also help your energy and satisfaction level rise. And so the 6 areas are having a vital worship service, being flexible, which means adapting to change, adapting to different lifestyles, adapting and being welcoming to all, developing meaningful relationships within our congregation, having an open decision-making process, being lifelong learners, or have that kind of framework. We're all learning. We should continue to learn through our journey in our faith. And the last one was education and formation of complex lifestyles. And I think that means that, the church is responsible in some way to help educate us, and that we should be open to learning and to discussing. And we might have different lifestyles or different places that we're in our lives, but we can still come together and worship God. The next slide is a list of priorities that, again, is blank, and I don't know why. Because the slide I thought I gave to Cole had a list. But these are our priorities, and I thought this was, I felt like I've heard this more than once from several people. So our top 5 priorities, then this is a response to the question, where would you like additional energy placed to expand and improve our ministries? And so we'd like to expand more energy and improve the area of attracting families with children and youth. We'd like to reach new people and incorporate them in the life of our church. So people that are not currently attending our church. Provide more opportunities for Christian education and spiritual formation for every age and every stage of life. To expand outreach ministries to those in the margins, so reaching out beyond our church, and to advocate for social and institutional change, so that social justice, those social issues that are a part of our community, part of our world, to be involved with those. On this list, there were 3 that they felt would allow there to be more movement or more action towards being a church that we'd be more satisfied, more energy in, and those were reaching new people outside of our church, expanding our outreach ministries, and advocating for social and institutional change. Something that came out of this is that we were able to then give our priorities to our superintendent. As you know, we've started the process of searching for a new pastor. Our next pastor, which will happen not until June, but or July, but we want an incoming pastor to know what our priorities are, and so the survey allowed us to kind of have this information that we can share. It does not mean, however, that we wait until July. It means that these are our priorities now and that we should keep them in the forefront, and we should be working towards making a plan or figuring out ways that we can address the issues that are important to our members here at Hope. The next slide is, again, it's something that we see as critical abilities or skills that we'd like to see in a pastor. It's good for our current pastor, Fernand, to know what things we feel are most important, but also, again, for our next pastor. What's not listed is that the things that we would like to see or we feel are important are skills in preaching, pastoral care, that compassionate component, strategic leadership, meaning being able to plan and look to the future, and change management, being able to look at things that maybe need to change and managing that process. Again, these were shared with our superintendent, and along with several other things that have been shared with him so that it would help in the search for our next pastor. I don't have a slide for the next couple of things, but I would refer you to the back side of the summary sheet. There were some points that were mentioned. One was the governance of the church, and what our responses showed is that 50% said that a small group of people make the important decisions in our church. That rated us at the 39th percentile when compared to other churches. This might be related to COVID. This might be related to the fact that we do have a small leadership board, but it's something that tells us that we need to continue to communicate with each other. We need you to let us know what, the leadership board to know what are your priorities, what your concerns are, as well as we need to communicate that information back to you as far as what happens at our meetings. And town hall meetings are one of those ways, and so I appreciate that all of you have attended and are being a part of this process. I mentioned the strength that we are a very flexible church. We had 70% felt that we adapt to the needs and circumstances of the people we want to reach, and that we responded to the pandemic in a positive way. That you felt that was a strength of our church, and so that's good to know, because we were not sure what we were doing when those first few months occurred, and you know, we still try to do the best we can to get through this time of COVID. And the last one had to do with growth and stewardship, and the only thing he mentioned, this summary was written by Scott, that we ranked in the 42nd percentile when compared to other churches our size. This means that we have not fully realized our stewardship capacity. And I'm not sure what they meant by stewardship capacity, if it meant our pledging only, or if it meant, you know, were they including all of the other kinds of giving that we do beyond what we pledge to the church, you know, our gifts, our talents, our time, was that all included? But they're indicating that we could expand on that area when compared to other churches. So we're kind of getting to the end here as far as the summary of the CAT survey. You know, what happens next, and you can go to the last slide, Nicole. Certainly we'd like to thank you all for being here, as well as for participating in that survey, because it did give us a lot of valuable information. I would encourage you to be informed, to read the minutes of our meetings, which come out once a month. I would encourage you to come to our meetings too. They're open, always have been, always will be. We are going to be meeting via Zoom the next 4 months, and then the rest of the year we'll be meeting here at the church. But we can send a link to you, anybody that wants to come and just listen, or, you know, have a say and be a part of the conversation. So you're welcome to come to any of those meetings. If something interests you, I would encourage you to volunteer and be a part. if you're asked to help, please say yes, because we've asked a lot of people at different times, and a lot of times we're given a no. But we do thank everyone who says yes. If you have a passion, if you have an idea, bring it to one of our focus members in that particular area and talk about it, and run with it. That's what this process, this new leadership style is all about. So, but as far as specific steps, we haven't gotten to the point where we are planning anything specific, but we're open to ideas and suggestions that you might have as to how we might go forward with some of these ideas, this information into the future. So at this time, I'd like to stop. That's the end of my presentation, our presentation as far as the results of the survey. But are there questions? Are there, what would anybody like to talk more about or have more information about? Let us know. Janet. We did. As far as I know, none of the above. I think they were looking for churches that would participate to help us look at our future. It's a way to look at where we're at right now and where we might go forward. We did not know that Nan was planning to retire when we started this process. It has given us good information that could help down the road, and it had nothing, as far as I know, it had nothing to do with any of the other things that are going on in the Methodist Church. But it was something we felt after we talked with Scott, and we also talked with Jay, who was part of Healthy Initiative. It is a way for us to to continue to move on some of our the goals. We had a couple things we have not finished from Healthy Church, and I think they're in this, they come out that we still are interested in completing those, but kind of because of COVID, we were not able to move as quickly in finishing those goals. So hopefully, I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Barb?
Hey, hang on.
Okay.
Because we are recording this, we need
Okay.
to use the
Yeah.
microphone.
How many churches participated in this survey?
Across our conference, I have no idea. And the 3,000 churches that we were compared to, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's not necessarily Methodist churches. It's churches across the board that are similar size to us. So I don't have an answer for that. Sorry. Other questions or comments? Okay. What we would like to do at this point is perhaps talk about focused areas, and I don't know if, I don't know how long, I think we have about 5 or 10 minutes at the most, so I don't know if there's something we would like to share over others. I don't know that we can all share. What's the priority, do you think? Okay, Sandy's going to come up. She's part of the SPRC. She and Katie Kennedy are the focus people, but if we ever act on anything involving the staff, then the whole group becomes SPRC.
Just a couple of points that have occurred since our last town hall. We have been successful in hiring an office manager. If you haven't stopped in to meet Kim, please do. Kim Anderson. She seems to be right in with what needs to be happening. I saw some changes in the little bulletin thing that she has done. She's willing to work with anybody about things that they would like to have published or whatever. If you haven't stopped by the office, go to the office. It's now a decorated office. It looks wonderful. She burns incense, and you'll hear very quiet music playing when you're in there with her. Another thing that we did in this period of time is that we needed to do some salary adjustments. Our church went from 2 services to 1 service. timing of practices and those kind of things changed. So we made some salary adjustments, and we have notified all of the staff of those changes. Just to reiterate a couple of things that Kathy said, we welcome all of you to come and/or listen to our meetings to give us ideas. Another thing she said is if you think of something that you would like to see done, please notify one of us on the leadership so that we can take it to the leadership, and then it becomes yours. It's kind of like I mentioned a blessing box once that was in my neighborhood. Jan Keller said, oh gee, this is something I have wanted to do in Chuck's memory. So she took it along with me, and we got it done, and we thank you for the participation in our little pantry. But those are the kind of things that can happen easily with our one board.
Is there another focus group that Janine would like to? Janine is our Connect person. This is part of the discipleship pathway, so we have Connect person, grow, and serve.
But Janine is going to talk to you about grow, because Sigourney is teaching Sunday school right now. So she handed me this beautifully written report. Pathways on Wednesday, the POW, started on November 10th, which was a very stormy night. After the short worship service featuring contemporary music videos, we hope to offer a variety of small groups besides the current book study. Some ideas that came up in a planning meeting include crafts, knitting, gardening, painting, board games, puzzles, chair yoga, and some conversations about racism. The adult Sunday school class and the beginners class have steady attendance, but the kids in the 4th through 8th grade seekers class have stopped coming. Attendance in this group went from 2 to 1 to none. Linda Von Holten is going to organize some youth group type activities, and the first one will be Gingerbread House Building on Sunday, December 12th at 4 o'clock with pizza afterwards. If this time frame works out, the new group could then meet twice a month. We have some Advent activities planned for all ages. Diane will coordinate Advent decorating on Monday, November 22nd, starting at 9:30. The Circe tree will be back in the lobby with gift wish tags so that people can purchase gifts for the Circe residents. We are also bringing back the hat and mitten tree. Other Advent activities, Hope for the Holidays. Saturday, December 4th, 11th, and 18th, morning story time with crafts from 9:30 to 11. Advent book study for the adult Sunday school class. Wednesday, December 1st, at Pathways on Wednesdays, we will decorate the Chrismon tree in Fellowship Hall and write the encouraging notes to go with the MCC cookies. Sunday, December 19th at 5:30, there will be caroling and cookies, and we'll visit the neighborhood and various senior living communities delivering the gingerbread houses that the kids made on December 12th. Then we will return to Fellowship Hall for cookies, etc. I would just tell you that on behalf of Connect, though, that I will be going off of the leadership team the end of this year, meaning end of December. So if anyone is so inclined, talk to the other folks on the leadership team or talk to me, and that I would love to tell you what all that entails, and if that's something that you would consider. It's been a blessing in my life.
I would just say a thing or two about the grow or the serve part, which is, again, the part of discipleship pathway, and serve is my focused area. So I just appreciate all the people that have donated items for our drop-off events, who have continue to be supportive of our monthly, the little envelopes that come out for the blanket drive for CW, Church World Services, maybe, that's what it's called. You know, you've been very generous, and it just, it hits my heart every time that I am able to deliver the items. So just an update on the blanket drive that we had. Again, the need was there and you responded. We've delivered about 35 blankets to MCC, along with someone, I don't know who, is a Thrivent member, and they donated their quarterly money towards purchasing blankets at MCC. So I appreciate that. I delivered that along with we have some funds that we are able to spend for the vault that has been donated, and I did take an emergency drop-off to them because they were out of cleaning supplies, out of shampoos, out of toothpaste, toilet paper. They were out of toilet paper. And so I delivered those last Friday, I think, and as we're donating, we just unloaded and put them on the shelves immediately, and if, some young men stopped at the door, "Do you have any toilet paper?" And yes, we do. So, you know, they give out a couple of rolls of toilet paper at a time, and then I think they took some shampoo as well. So the need is there. We're responding. I appreciate, we should be proud of the fact that we're able to help in this way, and it's making a difference. So thank you for that. And we're continuing to collect for the library children's section until next Sunday. So if you have anything to donate, please bring it by then. Trustees, do you have anything you want to share? Or who else am I not? Finance, do you want to say anything? Trustees are Nick Slosik and Bryce Kubley, and we appreciate them. If you have a trustee issue, you can go to them. Our finance folks are, of course, Joyce is our treasurer, but also Jan Keller and Diane Henry. So they're the folks to go to if you have questions about finance.
I have good news. Your treasurer doesn't always have good news. We've had a very good year. We've been in the black all year. We started out strong in January, and it's carried through. This is like a new experience for me. Ending in October, our income exceeded our expenses by almost $7,000. And our current balance is $17,700. So, you know, this is not a bad thing, obviously. And we do have, and Bryce can concur with this, we have an aging HVAC system that we've had to spend quite a bit of money on. So this balance could disappear pretty quickly if we have some other issues. But anyway, thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
I wondered if anyone at large, Kirsten, did you want to say anything? So Kirsten was the chair for the anniversary committee, and we appreciate her work as well as, you know, the work of everyone and the different things that were able to come to play. It was a wonderful day. The only other thing I wondered about, do we want to say anything about the endowment fund or the charge conferences coming up? I know Nan made an announcement. Are there questions about it that maybe could be brought up here today? Are we good? Can we get a mic? Okay. Say that again, Jan. Some verbiage. Fewer people on the committee. So there's a change in the way the money is received and accepted. it will encompass the memorial and endowment money together. There's a process of how we use some of that money, what do you call it? The increases in the fund that we can withdraw and the percentage that needs to be used for mission, some of that. And there is a handout on that, and it's in the hall as well, so you can grab that if you'd like. But we hope that you will join as many as can. It's a Zoomed process. We didn't have a choice in that, but it'll be important for us to act on this so that we can move forward. It's not something we can do as a leadership board, or that, you know, can just happen without the say of the church. So, any other questions that we haven't addressed? We thank you for staying. Joanne has a statement, question.
Okay, what's the status on another handrail?
It's in the process. Okay, so the parts have been brought about. So Joanne made the suggestion that we put another rail here that make it easier for people that are coming up for the, you know, to be the worship leader or whatever. And so we've ordered the parts, and so we're waiting for that to come in. All right. Thank you very much. If you have questions outside of this meeting, just let us know, and we'll go forward from that. Thank you.